Doug Ford goes back on CNN to talk about Trump at the G7. Oh my goodness, this guy just doesn't get it, huh? Let's take a look. Doug Ford posted on X saying U.S. tariffs are raising costs for American workers, families, and businesses. It's time to end the tariffs, mend fences, and move forward to grow our economies and create more jobs as we build Fortress AmCam. Let's take a look at the video.
Join us now for more on this is Ontario Premier Doug Ford. Premier Ford, welcome back to the show. So the last time this summit was in your country back in 2018 during President Trump's first term, it was immortalized by this picture right here we're putting up that many say really perfectly captured the dysfunction of the summit. So how can world leaders avoid a repeat of this amid the president's trade war?
Well, first of all, thanks so much for having me on, Pamela. And I just really hope that President Trump brings a different attitude towards the rest of the world, and especially his closest friends and trading partners, that he actually wants to strike a deal. He doesn't want to be fighting with the entire world, and specifically his number one customer, as I always say. We do more trade than China and Mexico and Japan and UK and Germany combined. And I'm just here in Boston with convening with 6 governors and 6 premiers, and I just want to give a shout out to Governor Healy. She's doing a great job here in Massachusetts. Yeah,
I'm going to talk to you about Boston in just a second, but I want to follow up with the president meeting with Prime Minister Carney. At any moment now, we're expecting that. How do you expect he'll walk the line between keeping the summit on track and pushing back on President Trump's trade war?
Well, I have all the confidence in the world in Prime Minister Carney. He'll be obviously very polite, being the host, but he also has to be stern, and it's hurting both the U.S. and Canada. As I always say, President Trump's tariffs is a tax on Americans. That's unacceptable. We have to send a message to the rest of the world. There's certainty here now in these two countries, and come and invest in the U.S. and Canada, but attacking everyone, which he's been doing over the last little while, and attacking economically Canada, his number one customer, that doesn't work.
And it is notable. It's notable that President Trump is there at a time when he has been calling on Canada to be annexed and become America's 51st state. How much is that hanging over all of this?
Okay, look. I don't think I'm crazy, but I feel like I'm a little bit crazy on this one, because I think that this is absolutely hilarious, like poetically hilarious. The fact, okay, I posted this on X. Here we go. Let's take a look. Does anyone else find it funny that the 51st G7 summit is taking place in Alberta, Canada? Potentially the 51st state of America. I've been laughing about this for over 24 hours. Tell me I'm not crazy. I have been now laughing about this for over 24 hours. I find it hilariously poetic, and I feel like I'm alone. Can I get some validation down in the comments to say that this is actually funny, or am I this boring of a dad now that I just think that it's a big dad joke and a coincidence? I don't know. I think it's funny. I'm surprised the media hasn't said anything about it. And also, this freeze frame is a phenomenal representation of the IQ of CNN right there. Just almost like an uwu face. How do I even know what that is? Oh my God. All right, let's get back to politics.
Well, as we talk to the governors, a lot of governors are saying it's insulting. It's insulting to your closest friend and allies. We love the U.S. I love the U.S. Canadians love Americans. There's one person that is causing this issue, and that's President Trump. Hopefully he'll take another avenue and start mending fences, because right now, as the governors told us here, they're seeing a drastic decline in Canadian tourism.
Yeah, that has certainly been an issue, particularly for the states like you're in right now. I want to ask you also, before we let you go, about this Bill 5. This was just signed into law in your province and allows for the creation of these special economic zones that can exempt companies or projects from provincial law. How do you plan to use that to counter the president's trade war?
Well, we're going to speed up permitting rather than sitting there and waiting for a permit in 15 years. We're going to get it done under 2 years, and we have the full support of the federal government as well to get the critical minerals out of the world, out of the ground, to compete against the rest of the world. And who do I want to send it to? I want to send it to our American friends. Ontario has more critical minerals than anywhere in the world. As China is cutting off our great friends south of the border, who's there to hand over the critical minerals? Ontario is. And China is not supporting any critical minerals that go to your defense, aerospace, or manufacturing. They've cornered the market, but they haven't cornered Ontario's critical minerals. We have more than anywhere in the world, and along with our energy as well. I want to send more energy to our friends south of the border.
Yeah, my first response to that energy comment would be, well, Mr. Ford, you have also threatened to cut off the power and energy to Americans. I understand this is a trade war, but if we start taking more energy and power from you, who's to say you wouldn't make that threat again? Like, is there something wrong with my brain that I'm seeing this and I feel like this is a big issue, that CNN, what's supposed to be a journalist and have a journalist outlet and have integrity, that they are not saying these points that I can come up with? Not that what I'm saying is the holy grail of what's right or wrong, but Doug Ford did threaten to cut off the power. That's where he's a fat pig with rabies came from, was because he was literally threatening. He's foaming at the mouth. We're going to cut off the power to 1.4 million homes in America. And now he's saying that he wants to deliver more power to America. I feel like I've been gaslit. I feel like I'm insane for saying, hey, hold on, buddy. That's a bit of an issue. What do you mean? You want to do more? You've already threatened us. Now you want to do more? Come on. Am I crazy? Am I crazy down in the comments? Chad, am I crazy? Or are these people crazy?
As you know, that the bill is getting pushed back from Indigenous communities who disagree with the limited requirements for consultations with them on projects that impact their lands and their treaty rights. What are you saying to these communities who feel like their rights are being stripped away in favor of economic growth?
Well, there's a few of them, and not a lot of them, but I've had a great relationship with all the Indigenous communities. We're putting $3 billion in the window until they can get grants and have equity partnerships. We're giving them $70 million of training and skills development, $10 million worth of scholarships. And don't kid yourself, there's a tremendous amount of chiefs out there that want to move forward. They want to be progressive. They want their kids to have a better life than they had, and there's always going to be respect for their treaty rights, and there's always going to be duty to consult. They know it, everyone knows it, and that's why a recent poll came out, 73% of the people in Ontario want to move forward with it, but it will move forward with consultation with our First Nations communities. There's a few that's making noise, but the vast majority, you watch, they'll be full steam ahead, and we're going to work collaboratively with our First Nations communities.
I want to circle back to Boston, where you are right now. You said you're meeting with governors. Obviously, yes. A big point of discussion, as you mentioned, is tourism. Do you see anything being worked out on that front to help revive tourism with Canada?
I really do, and I think it's really going to help if they sign a deal. As the Governor Hochul was saying, that they're seeing 1/3 the amount of tourism than they used to see, and we're all working together. It's really, I'll call it this way, it's a love fest in the room, and there's a mixture of everyone in the room, and we just want to get things back on track and move forward, and we're just two great countries, great trading partners, and let's move forward, because everyone in that room knows Canadians love Americans.
Ontario Premier Doug Ford.
He was literally trying to pick a fight with America or escalate the fight with America not too long ago. And now he wants to deliver more energy, more power. It's just weird. I'm not going to say that Doug Ford is bipolar, but maybe this is politics. Maybe this is how it is. You make threats and then all of a sudden you're friends again. But I feel like there's a level of bipolarism with Doug Ford because it was just a few months ago that he was literally foaming at the mouth, ready to cut off the power to 1.4 million homes in America. And now he wants more energy contracts to deliver more energy and have more money, but also control and power over homes in America. Kind of weird. And I think that Donald Trump sees through that. But anyways, I'd love to know what you guys think down below in the comments.